Good afternoon, YouTubers. It is August 1st, 2:10 p.m. So it is a Monday, so it's not my usual Sunday, especially considering the Astros play today. I usually will do a Monday podcast if the Astros are off, but that is not the case. They play in 5 hours, so a little late today. Obviously last night, just got back from my trip. Tennessee, so I got back last night like at 1 a.m. so I didn't have time obviously to do it last night, so I'm here now. I'm going to do the best I can this week. Obviously being on vacation, being away, watching the games was kind of hard to do. I did the best I could do. I got updates. I'll be looking at a lot more stats than I would probably in a normal week, just because I don't know exactly who pitched when, how the runs came about, but I'll do the best I can here. It is an exciting week for baseball. I'm glad to be back, of course, but the trade deadline's tomorrow at 5. It's like 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, something like that. So tomorrow, I might do back-to-back podcasts today, obviously, and then tomorrow I like to do a post, trade deadline sort of recap. Just to the few trades that have gone down. I'll go ahead and talk about that now. Andrew Benintendi from the Royals traded to the Yankees, so Yankees obviously are going to be wheeling and dealing like they do every year. But yeah, that's a bat they got for the outfield, so that was one of the ones that went down today earlier. This happened basically like 2 hours ago. But Josh Hader, surprising move. Brewers, who lead the NL Central, traded him to the Padres. Padres also extended Joe Musgrove, 5-year, $100 million contract, former Astro, of course. But the Padres, they're all in. They did this a few years ago, didn't work out. But yeah, they just upgraded their bullpen, and now they've signed Joe Musgrove, so extended him at least. So the Padres look like they're going to be a real player. They are in a good spot. Obviously, the Dodgers lead that division, but they have a pretty good wild card. I'm checking real quick here. I want to see where they're at. So San Diego, yeah, their second wild card. Braves obviously are, and Braves have the first wild card by a pretty wide margin, 6.5 games up on, I guess, St. Louis, who's 1 game out of the third wild card spot. Phillies hold that. Phillies have won 5 in a row. So. But San Diego, yeah, they're right in the middle there, so yeah, they're going to be looking to make some moves. They have a good chance being in the playoffs this year, obviously. Astros, so obviously they got swept the first time all year by Oakland, so that was not good. They just got outplayed in 3 games, so it's pretty much that simple. Starters weren't very good. Bats didn't do enough. I think Garcia got the start there and on the Monday game, but he was not good. Yeah, Garcia's had his fair share of slip-ups. I mean, his ERA sits somewhere in the 3s, so it's not completely terrible. But, Garcia's sort of hit or miss, I feel like, some starts. You just hope you can get quality work out of him. So I think that's what you got to hope for with Garcia. Hold on. No, Odorizzi started this game. So, all right, we'll get to Garcia in a minute. So, like I said, some things will be sort of out of whack. Just I didn't keep up with all these games. So, the word was in this game, where Odorizzi was not good, is he was dealing with a blister. And he was pitching through the injury to try to help the bullpen, I guess. So that's what I heard after the game. But, yeah, the 5 innings, six earned runs was not good. ERA ballooned. He got the loss. Maton came in, worked a score. Well, Maton got 5 outs, worked, 2 strikeouts, gave up a hit, but clean otherwise, other than that. Stanek came in, gave up an earned run. So Stanek, who also struggled yesterday, so he's been the one guy that's got the ERA under 1, but that's gone up. But we really didn't give ourselves a chance. I mean, the 5-run fourth really hurt the Astros after they scored a run. I think Jeremy Pena hit a home run in the first to put them on the board, but 6 unanswered runs and couldn't ever really recover. And Odorizzi, if you want to give him a pass, that's completely up to you. I mean, dealing with the blister, I usually don't give people passes. But for a pitcher, pitching through a blister, Yeah, that doesn't seem like a fun thing to really go through. And then Tuesday lose 5-3. I think this was the Garcia start. We'll double check here. It was. He was not good. Gave up 4 runs in the third inning. That was actually a grand slam that he gave up to Chad Pender. To give up the 4 runs. That was all he allowed. But I don't care if you go 6, 7, 8 innings. If you give up 4 runs, that's not considered a quality start. Usually, if you go 6 innings, allowing 3 or fewer runs, that is considered. But all runs were earned, of course. He got through 5 2/3. Abreu came in, was clean. He got 4 outs, 2 strikeouts. Neris gave him an earned run that made it a little tougher there, but yeah, they lose that 5-3. Wednesday's game. Wednesday's game, they lose 4-2. So just like I mentioned earlier, they just get outplayed in every game basically, and it sucks to get swept for the first time, especially to Oakland of all teams. But that's what happened. Javier wasn't terrible. But let's look at his numbers here. Javier pitched 5 innings, 3 earned runs, struck out 6, walked a guy. Seth Martinez came in, gave up a run in his inning and a third. Also walked a guy, struck out a guy. ERA at 2.17, which for most bullpen pitchers you'd say is good. But Martinez had an ERA of 0 for the longest time. So Martinez isn't a guy that is going to see a lot of high leverage situations. He needed work, so I think that's why he got in the game. And Leighton came in, he got 2 outs, but he also gave up 2 hits, didn't allow a run, struck out a guy, and then Stanek had a perfect inning with 3, struck out the side. So I guess he bounced back from that, was it Monday game? Like that? Anyway, so yeah, they got outplayed every game. They just couldn't score enough. They lose the first. They lost each game by 2 runs. 7-5, 5-3, and 4-2. So, yeah, get on the plane, come back home, and they did they did what they needed to do against Seattle, which was take 3 or 4. They really should have swept the series. The one loss on Saturday. Had 2 outs in the 9th inning, up a run, and Presley, Abraham Toro, who talked about him quite a bit, but Toro, hit the 2-run single to give them the win basically, a game-winning 2-run single, not walk-off, but yeah, winning on Thursday 4-2. It was 2-2 for the longest time. I think Bregman had a big hit there. Let's see here. Montero got the win here. Urquidy, another good starter. Urquidy's got the ERA down to 3.86. So it was at 5 at one point this year. So people may forget that, but the ERA was at 5. And it's going down every single start. So Urquidy's been just fine. He had the, 2-month stretch where he wasn't very good, especially against the Mariners. But he's really turned his season around. So Urquidy's been good for us. Montero got 4 outs. Got the win, as I mentioned. Presley was able to shut the door there. But yeah, we scored 2 early runs. I think Bregman homered a 2-run shot, which gave him the 2 runs. He also doubled to score the go-ahead run in the 8th. So Bregman's been coming along shortly. Shortly. How do you say that? Let me think for a second. Slowly but surely. That sounds right. So Bregman's coming along a little bit there. But yeah, the go-ahead double, a wild pitch gave them a run of insurance, and then Presley shut the door. That was on Thursday. So the Friday game, Verlander was great. The Astros offense came out. They scored a ton of runs. A single run in the third, 3 more single run in the second, 3 more in the third, another one in the fourth, 4-run 8th. So the offense broke out big time. Verlander was great. So that game was never really in doubt. And Verlander went 7 2/3, and Abreu got the final 4 outs, shut the door there. But Verlander 14-3, ERA at 1.81. He's been phenomenal. He's the leading candidate for Cy Young at this point. I mean, every year Verlander's been healthy, he's been just unbelievably good. So there's not much I can say there. I mean, the numbers just speak for themselves. The Tommy John looks like it doesn't really affect him. Anyway, so he's certainly the ace. He gets the ball in game one of any series. And yeah, great. 11-1. Just talked about Saturday. I mean, they were down 3-0 early. Valdez settled in. I feel like Valdez has done this a number of times this year where he starts out struggling, whether he hits a few batters or walks a few guys, and then he sort of gets in. So as I watch Valdez going forward, the early innings is what's important for him. I mean, Valdez has this streak of 17 straight quality starts or whatever it might be. Again, quality start constitutes 6 innings, 3 runs or less. So he's done that. I mean, he was able to keep it close. The Astros offense came back. They took the lead, but Presley blew the save. That was a tough one to lose. Being down, 3-0 early, 3 runs in the first. Look at the box score here. Valdez went 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, struck out 7, walked 1 guy. I think he also hit 2 batters. So he struggles with command, but when Valdez is struggling with his command, it's usually not in the zone. It's out the zone, outside the zone. So he's walking guys, hitting guys. It's one of those. It's weird, one of those weird things. But I mean, his ERA is still at 2.80. It's the second best on the team. I mean, he's the only guy other than Verlander that has an ERA under 3. So Valdez is their second best starter. Montero got the hold, and yeah, Presley blew the save. Again, I look at Presley as a closer, and I just think middle of the pack. Middle of the pack closer. You feel comfortable with him. I'd like to have more than a 1-run lead with Presley in the game, of course. But for the most part, like I said, middle of the pack. He's blown 4 saves this year. I can name them all for you. I think early season, like their 4th or 5th game, it was to the Diamondbacks. It was the extra inning rule, so the Astros scored a single run, I believe, in the 10th, and then the 11th he gave up the tying and go-ahead run. Blew the save there. He was hurt for a while after that blown save. He was on the IL for a while. He came back his first game back against Detroit. The Astros were down or up 2-0. I think he gave up a 3-run home run. That was a second blown save. Obviously, the one we all remember is the one in New York, where he walked 2 guys and gave up a 3-run home run that tied the game. Also ended up losing that game. And then on Saturday, so he's blown 4 saves. He's got 21 saves, or we'll check this in a minute here. But Presley's got, will probably end up somewhere in the mid-30 range, would be my guess in terms of saves for Presley, as long as he stays healthy. But, yeah. That was a tough one to lose, but they were able to bounce back yesterday, so taking 3 or 4, that's all you could ask for. And they play tonight. They got Boston for 3 and Cleveland for 4. So the big thing this week, obviously, is the trade deadline, which occurs tomorrow. So I will be watching MLB Network, ESPN, keeping up these deals. Things will start to roll in. I gave you what I have known so far. So yeah, trying to think here. Injury front for the Astros. Lance McCullers is still rehabbing. Should be close, but again, it's I don't know what their plans are for Lance McCullers. I think it's going to be bullpen, at least for this year, because you have 6 starters. One thing I'll throw in is that who else is on the ice? So no news on Alvarez that I've heard. So not Alvarez, Brantley, Michael Brantley. So he's been out for 2 months now, it feels like, and I haven't heard anything on Brantley. So the Astros are concerned a little with Jake Myers. I'm curious to see Jake Myers here. I had high hopes for him. They won an outfield bet at the deadline, which is tomorrow, obviously, but I look at Myers here. hitting 216, hasn't done a whole lot. His arm isn't very good out there in center. Yeah, I don't know. 1 home run, 13 RBIs. He actually got off when he came back to a pretty good start. First week, week and a half, 2 weeks. I mean, he had some extra base hits. He hit a home run. But since then he's really fallen off at 216. He doesn't hit high in the order. He's 7th, 8th, 9th. So I don't know what their plans are for Jake Myers. I still, think he's a long. I don't know with Jake Myers. It's hard for me. But they don't like his arm out there in center field. Josh Bell's obviously the obvious piece, considering he can play first base because Gurriel's been. He's actually at 243. That's risen. Bregman at 242, I think. But they put Gurriel in the 2-hole. So that's, new. Maybe he's performed better there. I mean, I feel like they've kept it that way for 5 or 6 games. We'll see what the lineup looks like tonight. But, yeah, they put Gurriel in the 2-hole. Brantley would usually occupy that spot. They've tried different things. Like Pena's played mostly in the 2-hole, I feel like. Now it's Gurriel. Move Pena down a little bit. We'll see things shake out. But Josh Bell, obviously, who can play the outfield and also play first base, that's exactly what the Astros need. He'd fill the 2 voids in the lineup pretty easily. Josh Bell would. So that'll be a guy to look out for tomorrow. They definitely could use a reliever, preferably a lefty. We'll see what they do there. If they can make those 2 moves, if James Click can pull off those 2 moves, it's another successful trade deadline. It was successful last year because their big issue was the bullpen. He acquired 4 guys in that bullpen. Kendall Graveman, Phil Maton, Rafael Montero, and so Montero and Graveman came together. It was Yimi Garcia. Yeah, Yimi Garcia was the other guy. But he addressed the need. And the need tomorrow is one more bat and one more reliever. If he can accomplish that, I have not had any issues with James Click to this point. So, yeah. So we're waiting on Brantley. No news there really. McCullers, I don't know how many rehab starts he's going to get. He's already had like 3. I think he has one tomorrow. I want to say Sugarland. Trying to think, Blake Taylor, who isn't a loss in the bullpen. They don't have a lefty. I don't think Mashinsky is on the team either. So we'll see. Obviously, tomorrow's a big day. It's one of my favorite days, especially when the Astros have been buyers. It's always fun to be buyers at the deadline. They don't have their farm system isn't very good, but they do have pieces. They have some minor league talent down there that they could move if they want. So we'll wait and see on that front tomorrow. So, and of course we might see trades rolling tonight. Another guy I didn't mention, Luis Castillo, traded to the Mariners. So the Mariners obviously are going for it. I mean, they're in a wild card spot right now. So Astros, win on Sunday. I was talking about this last week. They got to that magical mark of was it 54 or 50? Well, I can't even remember, but it was the 67 winning percentage, doubling the wins and losses. They said it's 67 and 36 now. So obviously you got to win 5 more games to get to that mark again. I mean, every loss, basically, you got to add 2 wins to sustain that. So, 12-game lead in the division, obviously not a big deal. Yankees are 2 games ahead of them. So Yankees are just floating around playing 500 ball. Astros basically, after getting swept by Oakland, obviously, was bad there. Oakland's played better. They did lose their last 2 games, but 7-3 in their last 10. They're last in the division. They have the worst record in the American League. So no excuse for that, but we move on, and we continue to try to win series and win games. So I'm not going to go too much further there. I will plan on getting on tomorrow sometime after 5-ish before the Astros game. But yeah, we'll wrap things up there. and we'll talk to you tomorrow is the plan.